start it up. So you know me, we're friends. I'm Jessica. What's your name?
My name is Lamika.
And we are actually friends. And what happened was this came about because I was in the shower. I was in sauna today, chilling at the gym, and my homegirl Lamika called. Now we talk, we text. Well, it's a call, like we know something serious
Right.
going down. And so I said, let me answer this call, and I knew it was a wellness check. So the wellness check,
driven by my mother,
who I absolutely love. And from there, we ended up talking from like a few minutes to an hour and a half. And it was awesome because what happens is we talk about personal things because we're actually friends, but then we also talk about business. And in that business call, you know, you and I was on your podcast just earlier this year, was it, or was that end of last year?
No, that was this year.
All right. And it was awesome. Like, some of the people on here right now actually joined and watched it. And your podcast is about entrepreneurship.
Yes.
How did you come about doing that?
Because as Jessica knows, I try any and everything. Even
Careful with that language.
Well, I mean, okay. In entrepreneurship, even in that, anyway, I love having an idea and having that idea come to fruition. We talk about the fruition factor, and so that's really how it came about. I love more than entrepreneurship. I love again having an idea and making it happen and taking the action steps to make it happen. A lot of people have ideas and they never do anything with it. So for me, I just love like seeing whatever it is I decide I want to do come to life. So yeah.
And I applaud you for that, because the thing is, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I got nervous. So, you know, we talked about in our podcast, we have the street team, things of that nature. I am the natural networker. I don't do that to be pumping myself up, but I feel like I often support others very well and try to give them ideas, but I wasn't always willing to do it myself. So when I finally decided to jump off that ledge and do it, now it's like, okay, here's the real stuff. So, like, there are things that you will tell me in our conversation that I may tell the people, but I don't apply to myself.
Same here.
And it's the accountability. So, like, some of the stuff we talked about today was what? One was doing this.
Yes, one was doing this because we both, I mean, like, most people know what they need to do, but they don't do it. And so it really boils down to having an accountability partner and somebody to call you out on saying, look, girl, this is what you said you was going to do. But we talked about, like, to me, you're a natural at doing this. And like I was, you know, what I was talking about for me, I'm not a natural at getting on the camera. Like, I know I need to record a whole bunch of videos, but for whatever reason, when the camera come on, I'd be like, and my personality does not come across. Whereas with you, to me, it's natural for you to be able to do that. And the information that you share, especially in regards to your business, with real estate, it's like what you're educating people on, not just buying a home, but setting their finances up properly in order to get the home, but to stay in the home and to be able to, you know, you got the home, let's talk about the insurance and, you know, all those kinds of things. And I think that's just, it naturally comes to you. And that's a part of what makes you a good realtor. And so a realtor, you know.
Thank you.
Say it right.
Yeah, say it right, girl.
Got to say that right. So that's the part that I was saying that is natural. I think it's natural for you to be able to do that and just naturally share that information with people.
So while we have people on here, because I want to make sure people get things out of this, people are going to come, they're going to drop off. I'm like, I won't take offense to it. I'm glad they came for the support.
Yeah.
I guess a couple things. Let's get some nuggets out there. So I have a nugget that I'm going to share about, like a scenario that I told you about earlier today. But then what is something, like, let's talk about your YouTube. And you've told me several times, make sure I stay on, make sure I post out there. What are some tips you have about getting your audience out there, getting your content out there?
Kind of going back to, okay, I'm glad you brought me back to that. So what I was saying today is, like, I'll have these ideas, and then when it's time for me to record, I'm like, okay, I don't know what I want to say. But if I can make myself a list, I mean, we all have these smartphones. If you can make yourself a list of, you know, the topics as they come to you, so when it's time to record, you have these ideas ready to go versus you trying to to think about it. A lot of times with videos, we see the end product, but there is a process behind before somebody can shoot that. And so a part of that is getting down those ideas so that you can then record it later and then be able to upload it. So that's a big part for me, is like, okay, make sure you write down the ideas in some form, or you so that when you go to record it, you got something to record.
Do you find that certain content is more catchy than other things?
Of course. For
So
sure.
how do you feel about that when you're out here putting real content and you got, ooh, ice cream, slurp, slurp. Oh, what is this dumb stuff? What is this stuff? I'm trying not to cuss because y'all know I have a potty mouth.
Me too. I'm worse than Jessica. But anyway, the thing is with that is, and that goes back to what I was saying about your personality, because you are naturally okay with talking and having your personality. I'm like, if you know me, then you know I have personality. But if you see me on Instagram or somewhere like that, you be like, I don't know about her. Whereas with you, your personality naturally shines. So you can put in a mixture of that with your real content. So you can be yourself and share stories along with, hey, this is my business and this is how I do this. This is how I help people, which, people may come in off of you dancing on the treadmill and then they go, oh,
10,000 likes. 10,000 likes for me shaking my ass on the treadmill, but I can't get nobody but like 3 likes to like some real content.
I mean, you got to spoon feed them some sugar to get them in, and then,
Oh, I got the sugar, boo. I got the sugar.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This right here. That will reel them in. Now, and somebody like me, once I see you, I'm like, oh, let me go check out your other information. Let me see if this is what you're about. And then, oh, you got, you do have some valuable information over there. So it's really a mixture of it, because it's the one thing that I learned with my lifestyle brand for tall women is when I first started, it was very corporate. I didn't want anybody to see me. I didn't have any personality in it. And then I had to realize that people are going to connect with me. And so people are going to connect with you, and they have to see you in it, and that, so that they can resonate to want to do business with you.
Got it. And the thing is, for me, I've done so many things in my career. So my resume reads something interesting. I mean, it's mostly finance related. But once I finally realized, like, I like real estate, now it's like a job. It's still a passion, but one day I said, oh, shiz, this is work. This is work.
Yeah.
But I think I wouldn't give it up for anything, because to the fact that you and I were talking earlier today, there are a lot of realtors out there, and everybody has their own type of thing they're going to do. And for me, I like to educate people. So people will call me, and a lot of times I give away free information. And I may not know if I don't know something, I'll go back and say, hey, let me go back and follow up on this and get understanding of it. But for instance, there's times where I will ask somebody, hey, they'll say, I want to sell my house. And I said, okay, let's talk about it. I'm not going to sell your house, even if you're in a positive position. If things built up, I don't want to give all the details to it. If things built up that made it be unfavorable for you, there are some out there that would say, I will still sell this house because I want to get a check. Mm-hmm. I have a thing called scruples and a conscience and all of that. Mm-hmm. And if I sell somebody a house and they're already in a position that's great, now they had an interest rate that was below 3%. Why would I have you sell that house because you want to go to a new place because you think that these other things are going to be there, and it's a new community, so you know nothing about it, and then, can y'all hear that? And then you want to go over here and buy something new that may not be the best investment for you. Mm-hmm. And so I walked through the transaction with the person of what they experienced, and I wasn't trying to make them feel bad. I said, well, how did you feel about that? And they said, I felt duped because they spent more money to get a lower interest rate on a place. They did a refinance. And when that person read it to me, I said, oh, man, like my heart sank for them because they didn't have any guidance on it. Mm-hmm. So I'm not a financial planner, but I've had my 763 in the day. I love financial planning. I've been broke as all get out before. And so it's nice to be able to share that information with other people, mm-hmm. so that you can help them not make the same mistakes over and over again.
For sure. Well, that's the benefit, because that's one of the things I was saying. So, I owned 30 plus homes in Dallas back in 2007, 2009. And what obviously the self-reflection or the reflection that I had after that was, well, what I took away from that is make sure you understand how people make their money. And however they make their money, that's typically the way they're going to steer you. And so I had to realize that when that agent is gone, when that loan officer is gone, whenever that investor I bought the property from, when they're gone, I still got to deal with, what's going on, no matter what they told me. And so a lot of people are not like you. Like they're just gonna do it for a check, knowing that they're knowing and sometimes not having done the full research to know that they're guiding that person in the wrong direction that can impact them financially later. And that is one of the great things about you and working with people and making sure that you do your due diligence on a property before you just accept it for a check.
Got it. Got it. I will say we have about 8 people on here. Well, 7 minus you. So thank y'all for joining us. We are going to be mindful of the time. I have to look at the clock in a minute. But if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to put those in there. Again, we came up with this today because it's a matter of there's so much information that's shared. And in our community, you want to be able to share information with people because hoarding it doesn't do you any good.
No.
If I'm over here trying to hoard now there's a time where I have to start charging for my information too. Because baby girl don't shake it for free. No. So, I mean, I love educating people. I really do. And we learn from those experiences. I think sometimes people may go through things and they're afraid to share for embarrassment and judgment. One of the best things to do is to learn from those things and turn back for them and say, look, I fell on the bottom and now I'm back up at the top.
Right.
For sure. So there shouldn't be a judgment with that.
No, it's not. Well, I think it's funny because I re-listened to our conversation on my YouTube channel, and you dropped a whole lot of nuggets, which is your girl gonna have to go back and make some YouTube shorts with some of them videos. Like I got
okay.
I got notes right here that
I snap.
Down that I'm like, oh, wait a minute. But sometimes. And one of the things that I said on that is that I had to realize who was sharing information with me and who was always taking information from me and never giving it back. And because I'm a giver, like if you tell me like, oh, I got this idea and I jump right into it. But if I realize that I'm the only one that's given, I had to reevaluate the people that were in my circle because I felt like I was just like, what am I doing wrong? And sometimes people can think that I've had someone tell me, oh, we think you got it all together. There's nothing that I can tell you. Wrong.
Correct. Correct.
Wrong. So I had to change my mindset so that I could attract people that would be able to share information with me, because so many people do hold it. But when I find somebody that's willing to share and it's reciprocal, I just, I appreciate that. And then one of the things that you said was the biggest detriment is ourselves, and we get in our way. And so once we do that and we realize that, we're a part of that whole situation, then it allows for people to be able to share information with you. But I'm all about sharing, but like Jessica said, I can't give it to you for free no more. I done left millions on the table by not having a course, by not having a mentorship, and letting people just call me and I just give it to them. And I'm like, well, I can't do that no more.
Right. And see, for me, there's a good friend on here. I have a lot of conversations with our business besties, as you call it, you and several other people out there. And they will say, you care too much and you got to be mindful of your time. Because I will get so engulfed in these transactions where I'm like, but you were supposed to do this. And you were supposed to do this. You're like, don't nobody care. They like get me in the house. And the thing is, there's an appreciation for it. So I'm learning how to fine tune my energy and time and share it with people so they know I still care about them. But I also have to be mindful to say, look, you can't give the same energy all the time.
Right.
What's our time? You got time?
We got 5:16, or I'm on Central Time. So
okay, we got
6:16.
Don't give about 5 minutes. Because we started a couple minutes afterwards. But I would say with this also that as an entrepreneur,
Heather knows. Heather knows.
My other friend knows. I will cry at a heartache and a heart attack. What's the thing in a heart? What do you call it in a minute?
Wait, no,
I will cry.
On the real, I will too. I just won't do it on social media. On the real, I will too. However, you just ain't get ready to see me do it.
But people get it. It doesn't make you look weak. I talked to
No,
people
it
the other
doesn't.
day,
It doesn't. It doesn't.
and for me, if I go on social media and cry, I'm not Tyrese, first of all, okay? But there's a level of vulnerability there that lets people know you're human. Hey, Charles. And so they can see that everything you're going through, you can create any kind of scenario you want to
Yeah,
on social media.
for sure.
And in a heartbeat. Thank you, Christy. That's my girl. And the thing is, you want to keep it real. So now it's a matter of, okay, how can I be in control of those emotions without being over the top, still be professional? There's so many things we have to think about. And people tell me they like it because I'm real.
Yes.
And so that's the one thing kind of helps me, but my being real can't always be shared with everybody.
True that, because my being real ain't shared with, unless you know me, unless you know how to call me. This is the only way you're gonna get it. Now I give you the real about entrepreneurship, but I think that's the thing that I'm talking about that makes you different as a realtor, is that I know I want to work with her because she's good at her craft, but I also know she's a real person. I can connect with her. I can relate to her, and that's a big part of it. That sometimes that's the balance that you have, with social media. But I think that's who you are. That's your it factor for making a connection with people.
So let's talk about that before we hang up, because there's a lot of people on here. A lot to me is 8. 8 is great, and I appreciate every one of you, because some people that join on here all have their own. I think everybody on here is either an entrepreneur, or they dual career, or they have the aspirations of it. And so I want to give all of you shouts out. There's a State Farm agent on here. There's a lady who knows, she is a dietitian, nutritionist, herbalist, all of that. She put me on to stuff. There's a BSD bandit on here. He has his own company. I gave it to my last girl. There's so many jewels and gems here. So I would hope that if y'all find this beneficial, we won't do it all the time, but definitely join in, give us things to talk about, because the word is out there to be shared, and that keeping it to yourself is not going to benefit you when you can still blossom and bloom with others.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, with that being said, 2 10s in the bucket.